And life. Yes, I never been to Boston, Kelly. I have to go also because in US now it's possible to travel. I read like 10 days ago or a week ago, they said, all right, welcome to
Welcome.
the US.
Yeah, that's right. Come on over. I think it's also possible for us to cross the pond the other direction, so I've got it on my radar to make it to the UK sometime soon.
UP Hour Speciale Crypto è organizzato da UP Gang e Marco Montemagno in collaborazione con Leontech. Con una diversificata gamma di oltre 800 certificati quotati in Italia, Leontech offre soluzioni di investimento adatte ad ogni risparmiatore. Visita il sito certificati.leontech.com, esplora un universo di prodotti e seleziona quelli più adatti alle tue esigenze. Leontech, tecnologia ed innovazione al servizio del tuo portafoglio.
Yeah, I traveled to Italy recently, and the only thing, it was after 2 years of COVID. So basically, I've been here in UK for 2 years, and then I took the first flight with the family, and fly with like 4 people. It was a job, the test, the thing, the locator form, and so you travel with this brief, your case. Do you have this? Oh no, my God! So that's the only annoying thing, that you need a lot of documents, and or at least it
does
looks
seem like a bit of a hassle, and that's funny. My husband wanted to leave the country with the kids, and I have 4 kids, and all I could think was, no way, that's way too much paperwork, way too much.
It's really, and you have such a huge pressure on you because you think, what happened if I forgot a document? We cannot fly, So I was
But then you
really
get stuck somewhere, right?
Yes, that's why. Imagine if Algorand would have a smart contract that automatically, bam, 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 you get all everything done.
Well,
Wait
Colombia
a
and
sec.
Peru. No, this is funny that you brought this up. This is not planned, but Colombia
I
and
don't know. I don't
Peru
know
have
anything about that.
actually
Do you have it? Yeah.
the Colombia and Peru have put their Vital Pass. It's a group down there. It's a couple of technology companies, healthcare companies have all come together. They've actually put their vaccine certification on the blockchain, and it has a user interface, but it's all verified on chain, and they are using that as their vaccine passport traction, which is very, very cool. I think they've got a ton of users on board already. It's new in the past couple months. I don't know if any other countries have adopted it, but I know that was like it's a perfect use case for blockchain, of course.
It's perfect. I honestly, when I was traveling, I thought if blockchain was only, couple of years more developed, and also the culture was a bit more aware of opportunity and and always, this prejudice. If I say crypto, what's going on? But I was clearly thinking, man, I'm flying and there are always the same documents. Just check. I mean, once I did it, do it automatically so that you can control if I did it right. And that's it, instead of me doing printing, showing, it doesn't make any sense. So I think we'll get there. And definitely Algorand is playing a big role in all of this, let's say, crypto world. I remember I spoke with Silvio Micali, I don't know, a month ago or something. And I remember 2 things very, very clearly. One was that was very noisy because he left his window open and he was in Rome. So every 2 seconds, it was like, like the Rome chaos. So
it sounds like the perfect sound backdrop for Silvio.
Yes.
The police in Rome coming after him.
Can you please close the window? So he closed the window. And the second thing that I really thought was, oh gosh, he's so smart. This man is so smart. How can he calculate in his mind all of the things? So it was really impressive. How did you meet him?
I first met Silvio 3.5 years ago now, and he was, I remember back in the early days, I remember Silvio, one of my first Silvio memories was when I had first started working with the team that had built the tech behind Algorand. I went over and we took a camera crew and we went over to his office in MIT, and he was walking through his childhood growing up in Italy, and like how he became really enthralled with math and the beauty that it can create and what makes it possible, and how he arrived at, we were talking about Boston. He has this brilliant story about how he crossed the bridge over to MIT through the snow and the rain and walked into the science building at one of the big science buildings at MIT. And it was just everyone carrying tubes and bubbling things and dry ice, and he talks about that just being like a really cool moment. And you can if you ever walked around the MIT campus, you can kind of like envision that. I always think about that story. And so he's always had this like great vision, right? He's a brilliant person, obviously. And it's a real honor to be able to interact and engage with him. I'm sure you got that. You chatted with him recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how some people have a different level of brain. And I remember we were chatting, and then he said, "Look, I give you this very, very, very easy example. If you take, 12 and multiply times factor of 35, and then you get that." And I say, "No, I don't. I lost
that.
and I don't really understand how you do this in your mind." But anyway, it's really interesting, and Algorand is a very interesting project. First of all, help me and help us to understand what's this situation with all of these blockchains, because people say, "Oh, there is Ethereum, there is Algorand, there is Solana, there are so many," and I think a lot of time users don't understand what's the difference. It will be like Highlander, only one will be left. There will be thousands. I don't know. Help us to understand the situation.
Well, I mean, everyone's got their own take on this, right? I think, from my perspective here at Algorand, the past few years, you talk about when did I first meet Silvio? One of the first things, I was handed Silvio's 72, this was 3.5+ years ago, handed Silvio Micali's 72-page white paper, which is basically 72 pages of math and economics. Now, I don't have a PhD in math and economics. I was the dumbest person working here, right? Like I've got my MBA, but all these multiple PhDs in economics, computer science, math, cryptography. And so when you take that, but I think there was so much emphasis on the tech because the tech wasn't there, right? Like Silvio stepped back and saw, he's invented or co-invented. He wouldn't tell you this. He probably didn't bring this up, Monty, when you were talking, but he's invented or co-invented like half the stuff that provides the underpinnings from the earlier ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so what happened was he saw those early instances coming out. It's like, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant, but they're inherently flawed, right? And he had, years ago, talked about the trilemma. You got to be able to be scalable so that the whole world can use it. It's got to be truly decentralized so that it's actually decentralized tech. And I think generally people are starting to understand the significance of decentralization more and more these days. And then just the speed and security of it, right? And so, the throughput. So he stepped back, redesigned this whole thing. And I think a lot of others did too. And there's other proof of stakes, and there's a lot of blockchains that are super fast, right? Better, faster, cheaper. And so I think what you're seeing is, there's a lot of amazing tech out there, but now it's the tech. So it's the better, faster, cheaper tech, but it's also the stability of the tech. Does it fall over? Can it handle like real, true, can that like, really scale and work for the whole wide world? And if everything's going to be on it, it has to really work and really be decentralized and always up and running. And then the other part of it is like, who's using it and what are they using it for? And does it have a growing ecosystem? Does it have a healthy ecosystem where people can get in and out of it? Does it have different opportunities? Does it have all the tooling, all the plugins, all the, community support? And does it have bridges to other chains, right? And Algorand's starting to see more and more of those because it will end up being a multi-chain world. I don't think there's going to be one. I don't think there's going to be thousands. I think there's going to be like a decent handful, right? And they'll start to interoperate with each other a little bit more. But, I think it's the tech, it's the community around it, it's who's using it, it's what's being done on it. Where is it future-proof so that there's like some strong support for it? Is there funding to really make it move? Like I know at Algorand, there's right now well over $1 billion just in funds to support the ecosystem growth and development, whether that's more tooling, more resources, more on-ramps for people, more enablement for corporations to bring millions, tens of millions of people to the blockchain and use it, whether or not they know it. Like just, back to we were talking about the COVID vaccination passport in Colombia, Peru, right? Like that's a small one, but there's millions of people in those countries that are going to start to be using and interacting with the blockchain just from its modern infrastructure.
But do you think that each of those blockchains will have a vertical specific use? And so, I don't know, Cardano or Elrond will be on Africa. and the Algorand will be better for certain use, Ethereum for something else. How does it work? All of these protocols chain together.
I don't think it's probably geo based. I think it's probably different verticals. Now, whether that's gaming versus more DeFi versus more supply chain versus more government, so I don't know, because it's tough to tell, because I think even at Algorand, like, we have a bunch of pretty significant adoption across all of those verticals, from traditional finance that's bridging into DeFi, real estate, gaming, tokenization of different types of assets, new economic models for creators, artists, singers, songwriters, digital artists. Like, so it's, but I would see one being more like different types of industries versus like geo-based, because blockchain doesn't have any borders. It's expansive enough, and that's part of what it brings to the world, right? Is that it drops those barriers down. You don't have them for artists and communities. And I mean, I bought an NFT this morning from Australia, like, no problem, done in 2 seconds in my wallet, like, also like that. So that's that's like that's a cross border, like, that wouldn't have been possible. Like, think about it, that's a simple basic thing, but blockchain makes it like super simple.
Yeah. Yesterday, I don't know, I went crazy for, what was the project? Render. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's like a render, like GPU, blockchain, decentralized. And I thought, that's interesting. AWS sort in blockchain. So I started to go into it. And then I said, all right, I should get something there. And by the way, this video, as usual, is not an investment. I don't suggest an investment, blah, blah, blah. That's the old illegal. So don't invest. I mean, don't do anything. I mean, it's just my my take on this. And I mean, the gas fee for Ethereum, they were like crazy. I mean, I thought, wow. So I don't understand why with like Algorand or other blockchains, still Ethereum is used for certain kind of uses. I don't get that.
I think, there's a lot of people that have been using Ethereum for a very long time. They were one of the first ones. Like, they've got first mover advantage in terms of the fact that they've got a really robust community. I think you're starting to see other communities really stand up. And like my comment about tooling and on-ramps and making all those things easy, like, you're starting to see those things come to life on other blockchains like Algorand and the rest of the layer ones. And as you start to see that happen, it becomes easier and easier to build on these others. I mean, I talk to people regularly that are migrating from Ethereum for that exact purpose. Like, you can't have a business model where those are your gas fees, where those are your speeds, where those are your fees,
Right. Well, what about the classic topic of environment? Because Ethereum is supposed to transition to a proof of stake model, so environmental issues should be solved or partially solved. What's your take on this? What is Algorand doing?
Yeah, I love the topic, love the subject. I think, blockchain has somehow gotten a bad rap in the environmental conversation, and that is based on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you look at some of the new tech, like any new tech, clean out, like, it gets better as it goes on, right? And Silvio has been talking about sustainability since like 2018 or something, which I know doesn't seem like a long time, but those are still early days of blockchain. And Algorand was designed to be very inclusive, and so there's very low barriers to entry and low barriers to participation. And part of that is the network. The network consumes, even just at base level, like the network and the nodes that run it take up you can run a node on a Raspberry Pi, right? Like, it takes up you don't need some $60,000 computer that's spewing out $10,000 worth of electricity every month. You need something that's very, very minor. And so, the footprint of Algorand is very minimal. In addition to that, the network is actually offset so that Algorand as a network is carbon negative, so that all those nodes that are running, there's a count, the relay nodes, the regular nodes, there's a count, and all of those nodes are offset on chain with a company out of Italy, actually, called Climate Trade, who has put carbon credit trading on blockchain. So
Wow.
however many nodes are, it like bumps it up and adds a percentage, and in the network offsets those with the credit. So Algorand is actually carbon negative, and part of the offsets are done through rainforest initiatives in Indonesia. There's wind farms in Mexico and a few others that are helping to do that. And again, very minor footprint as is, but the network, we've gone the extra mile because it's important, right? And you see, like everybody's gotta contribute and participate in this, and it's super important having a sustainable blockchain. And I think it's a misnomer, right? Like you've got this Bitcoin story about mining farms and the energy consumption and the energy of a small country, but you also have clean tech. Like there's clean blockchain, there's next gen sustainable blockchain that is not that.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I think the other thing is that, I mean, if I think about the miners, it depends if they're using renewables and they are, certified. I mean, great. It depends how you do it. So
It depends how you
I
do it, for
yeah,
sure. But but some of those, you got to plant a lot of trees to offset all that, or
yeah.
it's a lot of solar power. And like, can that be tracked? And how is that done? Versus you've got some very transparent stuff that's out there right now, which I think is really compelling. And it's not just Algorand. There's a lot of other people. I think Algorand was probably very early in being. I don't think anyone's disproven me on this. I think Algorand, if not the first, one of the very first that made that move into being carbon negative, carbon neutral, and we've gone above and beyond there.
Interesting. Kelly, I was curious about the topic of decentralization because I think I was watching an interview with Michael Saylor and the Pomp talking, about a lot of topics. And talking about Bitcoin, the topic was, it's really decentralized. And then, Googling around, I see, well, but it's not so decentralized, Bitcoin, at least from the data that I see. And when you talk about proof of work and proof of stake, yesterday I was listening to a deep dive into, I think, Solana, and the criticism was, it's very fast, but it's less decentralized. So you have, pros and cons, whatever you choose. What's your take, and what's Algorand direction in this?
Yeah, so decentralization is a path. We are not sacrificing decentralization on account of speed. So the product team and those that are working on performance enhancements, they've laid some of that stuff out. There's some very ambitious paths to getting to 10,000, 40, 50,000 transactions per second at Algorand that will be coming down the pipe. And it won't be because we have to stand up, back to my comment about really exclusive $60,000, $80,000 machines that become the centralized parts, because not everybody can participate in that, right? And so decentralization is key. It's a path. I think you're seeing a lot of that with Algorand. In the 2 years that we've been live, there's over 15, 16 million users right now. There's, I think a real note to decentralization is the Algorand Foundation is responsible for sort of the ongoing tokenomics, the rewards, like how the voting, the governance happens. And I don't know all the details, but I'm paraphrasing here, and I think it's still in process. But they had over 50,000 people vote in, take action, go on, participate with their algos, and vote for what should happen with rewards programs. So you have over 50,000 people. It's 1.8 billion tokens or something were represented in that vote, which is, and it's close to 20% of the entirety of the stake. And that's, little less than half of what's out there and circulating. So I think that's a testament to just how fast some of these communities grow. And that's a really exciting moment for decentralization and for adoption and for all of it. So I think decentralization, for sure is critical, and Algorand's been designed to sort of succeed on that path of being decentralized.
Got it. I saw that you did a partnership with CI in Italy. I don't know how you say it in English. How do you say CI in English?
Silvio has corrected me many times, but I think you just hit it right on the head. The
Well,
CI.
because in Italy we say CI,
Yes.
but we also say Colgate instead of Colgate, and REM instead of REM, or UFO instead of UFO. So I mean, we have our way of saying things.
Well, I am Silvio, and we've got a few people over in Italy that I talk to regularly enough. So I am in the CI boat. So I say CI. Yeah,
Fantastic. What's
that's
going on there?
I love that. So that's I think, Algorand's found a niche in really like being able to bring traditional models into, not to call blockchain the new world, right? But like into a more modern infrastructure. And so CI being, you might know this. I mean, that company's been around for 150.
Yeah, it's like the institutional company in Italy that collect royalties on music.
Yeah, the point is, over a company that's over 100 years old that represents the right, and then you're talking Italy, you're talking like the center of the universe for art, right?
It's the center of the universe for everything, Italy. That's what we are.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm talking to Italians.
Especially football. We are the center of the universe of football and everything.
I should know these things. I spent 8 or 9 months living in Firenze many years ago,
Okay.
which was amazing. But we can come back to that. But point is, center of the world back in my art history days, and so you've got 100-plus-year-old company, 150 years old, representing the rights of like 100,000 different artists, taking all of those royalties and rights, taking all of those things that they represent, putting it on blockchain so that it's more efficient, more economical. Like it modernizes their entire model. And I think it's a really interesting use. They did to do what they wanted to do, they had to actually, so a piece of art is an NFT, right? A non-fungible token. There's one of one. It's a very unique piece. They minted over the course of hours for a couple $1,000s, 4.2 or 4.3, just over 4 million NFTs.
Wow.
One fell swoop. But the reason why that's important is because not only are they making their model of transfer, like again, modern infrastructure, right? At the very basic, it's modernized infrastructure over 100,000 different artists, 4 point something million pieces of art. All of those NFTs were minted on Algorand and created in a matter of hours for a couple $1,000s. If that had been done on another chain like Ethereum, which has a lot of traction in the NFT space, if that had been done on Ethereum, it would have
You
cost
had to be Elon Musk.
millions of dollars. Wouldn't have made. They couldn't have done it. They couldn't have done it.
Yeah,
So and it would have taken some time, right? And so I think, again, back to like the tech matters, the stability, the better, faster, cheaper, that matters. Like you see a lot of that with, and so that's a use case that couldn't have been done on some of the legacy tech.
That's an interesting point because, for instance, in I think in January, I would love to launch my NFT project based. I would love to launch something like VeeFriends. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Vee. He launched VeeFriends. It's a collection of NFT that
you doing Monty and Friends
that have a utility, basically.
No, are you doing?
I will not call it Monty Friends, but
the Monty Friends. Are you launching Monty Friends?
That's a genius idea. I could call them Monty Friends and copy Gary Vee without any embarrassment. But the interesting thing is this one, that I think a big obstacle to buy an NFT at the moment is that if I say to my community, all right, 3 million followers on several social media, say, all right, guys, I got this NFT, they're cool, the great graphic, it's a great piece of art, but plus you have a lot of, you can have access to my events, my stuff, and we can have an experience together, is great. And my community will be, I'm sure, up for it. But the problem is that they will jump on, OpenSea or whatever, and then they will have gas fee. And they will have, the wallet to install, and then they will have the Ethereum to move or whatever, crypto convert, fiat. I mean, I lost them already. So that's, I think, a big problem for adoption of, NFT. To make it really mainstream, you need to have a very easy technology, like Connect, PayPal, whatever. That's it. Easy. I don't even think like contactless card. I pay taxi, boom, like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what's the situation there?
Yeah, so I think, and again, I think this comes back to like you're seeing the pieces and components to make that possible come to life. And I got to hook you up with the guys over at Dept, which is a digital agency. I think they're actually out of the UK, but they a couple weeks ago, and NFT stuff. I mean, it's soared, right? There's something like the first half of 2020, it was about $13.7 million dollars. In the first half of 2021, it's something like 2.5 billion, right? And so as a brand, like you have to pay attention to that, right? And so this company has built what I think they're calling Algomart. And effectively, it's like a white label marketplace where, to your point, it's all driven and powered by blockchain, but it has like a really seamless user experience that you could brand, right? So you could go and say, I'm going to put up the Monty Marketplace, because you don't want to send your customers to OpenSea or somewhere where they're going to get lost in a whole yard sale of other things, right? You want to send them like, come to the Monty store. Like I wouldn't want to send my followers to the Monty store. They're going to come to the Kelly store, right? But send them to your marketplace where they can onboard with, whether it's Circle on the back end or some of the credit card processing, because that happens now, right? Like you can credit card process, transfer it, it becomes tokens on the back end, and then you're entering the ecosystem. But there are these on-ramps that are now being created that let people very seamlessly, let people like you stand up these things very easily, and also like let customers or enable you to let your followers like participate in this and get on board with some of the NFTs and some of the ownerships and buying and selling and secondary markets and utility of what they have if they have access to those. So, I think back to my original point, right? It's about the tech, but it's also about like what's the funding and what is the ecosystem of people who are really building like strong things that make this stuff accessible and inclusive.
Yeah, definitely. I love this Algomart. I'll definitely go to check what they're doing. But how about the secondary market then from there? There is a bridge. If someone got, buy the NFT and say, all right, but I want to sell it now on OpenSea or wherever, they have this opportunity.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is coming. I think for a lot of what I've seen on Algorand right now, like people are trying to do more white label, like their own storefront kind of a thing, right? Like this, you'd go to Selfridges, you'd go to Bloomingdale's, you'd go to the supermarket, right? So you go to the rug store, right? So I think right now is sort of like reinventing those marketplaces that make sense for what the sale is, right? What the audience is. And I think you'll start to see more and more bridges. But it's the same way today. Like, well, if I had that pair of shoes from Selfridge, like where would I go and sell them right now, right? So like I think the secondary market and the bridges will start to happen more and more. And they're not totally quite there yet, but I think we'll get there, especially with some of the growing ecosystems on some of these other fronts.
Interesting. What about all of these stable coins that every 2 seconds there is a new stable coin? Here is what is the crypto pound? I think they're discussing the crypto pound. I say, all right, cool. What's going on?
There are a lot of stable coins. I haven't heard what's the crypto pound?
The crypto pound. I think Boris Johnson say, we're going to have the crypto pound or something like that. Or I'm going to hate the crypto pound. I never understand if he's against or in favor or something. He's always, it depends by the moment. But what do you think, what is Algorand doing in the stable coins, e-money world? Anything there?
Yeah, I think, there's over a dozen stable coins that are on Algorand right now, everything from, the bigger ones like USDC, USDT, but then also, some that are a little more, in Europe, Archax or Monerium is licensed e-money. They have this Icelandic krona, and there's a couple through that they've got regulatory approval on. And so I think the stable coins, like, I think Algorand sees a lot of traction just because I could send you $1 in USDC coin for like, I don't know, less than a tenth of a penny or something like that. And that's pretty good within 2 to 4 seconds. So I think stable coins just in general are seeing a lot of traction on Algorand for better, faster, cheaper reasons. But I think also, like, if you step out and look at the bigger picture, like some of the money cross-border payments and remittances and what's going on there. You take a company like Be Next, which is out of Spain, but they're doing all remittances between Spain, Europe, and Latin America, right? And it's all remittances back and forth. It's a massive market, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're a neobank of sorts, and they have seen a ton of traction, and they're doing that all for their users on Algorand because it's better, faster, cheaper, and they can do more for their participants, and they can serve more people. They don't have a big, massive bank headquarters. Like it's more about the simplicity and the back and forth remittances of the platform. So I think there's that. I think there's some other people doing some really interesting things, being the crypto version of Swift and more on Algorand. So I think we've seen a ton of adoption there. I think stablecoins are just representative of, better remittances, better payments.
And what about countries? Who's next after El Salvador? I know that you know, Kelly. Who's next? Who's next? Is Italy maybe? Or who is it? I don't know.
Listen, as you can imagine, I'm sure like countries and governments don't quite move at the same speed as the rest of us all here in crypto. So I think it's a little bit of it's a little different. I know, like for national initiatives, we've seen some traction there for sure. Not just early on from the Marshall Islands, but also with, the Vital Pass within that's with the Colombian and Peruvian government and healthcare system. Bermuda and Panama are doing their healthcare payment infrastructure on Algorand. And for Bermuda alone, it's like $800 million a year or something. And so if you look at like these national initiatives, El Salvador included, like some of the records that they're doing there, CI, right? CI has ties in with the Italian ministries and how that's going. So a lot of these things I think are serving as, I'm not going to say proof of concepts, but like you got to take a step, right? You have to try, you got to take a step first before you say, okay, our entire economy is blockchain based.
It's gone. Wow, fantastic. Kelly, it was such a pleasure to talk with you. Now I will explore the idea of doing Monty Friends or Monty and Kelly Friends. We should do probably together. I'm sure it will be a huge success.
I'm open to collaborative efforts. We could do that. I'll have my people call your people.
Yes, that's going to be my next step. Kelly, thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Monty. Thanks for having me.